Good evening everyone, I'm James Ford Bannister, BAFRA Director of Training for 2021 and 2022. In this video we will revisit question 68 from the BAFRA Annual Examination of 2021. So, let's break down the question. It's 2nd and 5 from Team B's 12-yard line. Quarterback A1's legal forward pass is intercepted by B20 at Team B's 7-yard line. B20 keeps running and carries the ball across Team B's goal line where he is tackled. During B20's run, A88 blocked an opponent below the waist from the front at Team B's 10-yard line. As always, I like to break down the play visually, so let's take a look at this one. The centre is going to snap the ball to A1, the quarterback, who's going to throw a legal forwards pass that gets intercepted by B20, who carries on running into his own end zone. During that run, A88 blocks a Team B player below the waist from the front, and then another Team A player tackles B20 inside B20's own end zone. Now I'm going to ask you that question that every referee you've probably ever worked with will ask, and it's a key one. What is the result of the play? In this instance, B20 has been tackled behind his own goal line whilst in possession of the ball. Typically, if Team B are responsible for the ball being inside the end zone, this will result in a safety, and it's actually covered under Rule 871. But when we're talking about the safety rule, we also want to talk about the momentum exception, which is in Rule 851. However, in this instance, the momentum exception doesn't apply because the interception takes place at the 7-yard line, which is outside of the exception note being between the 5-yard line and the goal line. Well, we know the result of the play is a safety, but has anything else occurred during the down that might change what happens next? Well, during B20's run, which is after a change of team possession, A88 blocks an opponent from the front but below the waist at Team B's 10-yard line, which, if we read Rule 916, the blocking below the waist rule, or more specifically, Rule 916D, we know that blocking below the waist is illegal after a change of team possession and carries a 15-yard penalty for it. But the play's dead in the end zone. Where do we enforce this 15-yard penalty from? Well, we need to look at Rule 10, which is the penalty enforcement rule. And in Rule 10.22c3, we see that when a team not in possession commits a foul either beyond or behind the basic spot, the penalty is enforced at the basic spot. So what's the basic spot? Well, Rule 10.22d2b tells us that when a foul occurs after a change of team possession in the field of play and the related run ends in the end zone, the basic spot is the goal line. So we need to enforce 15 yards from the goal line, which means we'll go 15 yards to B15 and give the ball to Team B, as they got the ball with clean hands. So with all that in mind, what is the effect on the two clocks? Well, typically for the play clock and the game clock, there are a series of buckets that we fall into, and there are some criteria that we need to meet for those certain buckets. The first one being the play clock, and we fall into the 25-second bucket, because under Rule 324c6, we see that Team B has been awarded a first down. And then for the game clock, we're going to start on the snap, and that is because Team B has been awarded a first down and will next snap the ball, which is highlighted in Rule 332d3. So what do we know? Well, let's look at the answers to the 5 key areas of the question. The first part being down and distance. We know that it will be Team B, first and 10 from the B15 because of the 15-yard penalty assessed for the illegal block below the waist, and that penalty being assessed from the goal line. The play clock will be set to 25 seconds, and the game clock will start on the snap. Thank you for listening to this video breakdown of question 68 of the BAFRA Annual Examination of 2021. I hope that you've learned something and that you return to us in the future for more of these video breakdowns. I've been James Ford Bannister, BAFRA Director of Training for 2021 and 2022.